I was you talking to me. Anyway.
Welcome to the show with no name. This is the show where Theoni and I bring to you people and organisations, like charities, service clubs, people in the community who are doing amazing things to help people around them. Now, this could be a cause or a well, they're always for causes, raising funds, looking for donations, sponsors, volunteers, some amazing things that we have to help people gain brand awareness and pursue and further their cause. Now, we are on My Time TV. The show with no name is being broadcast out to 50 channels of TV on demand through the Binge Network syndication program. And if you are watching this on a page that is not mytimetv.live, we are live this morning, and you are welcome to come over to mytimetv.live and join us live with the conversation, because we have a very special guest today, an amazing woman who Theoni will introduce. And yes, and when you hear about what she's doing, you will be so encouraged to share the love.
You will, and I've got an echo, so you might need to turn your volume down. So now the world really is quite small. We've got Sue Rusalen with us today. Now, I am actually friends with Sue's sister, and we met through different circles, but I didn't know that Sue actually did a stint in Broken Hill. So I'll just do a quick intro of her. So Sue has spent the last 35 years working in dentistry. She doesn't look old enough to have done that, but she has. She has held every role imaginable in a dental practice, and she was the first Outback dental hygienist, and in her mid-20s spent 2 years working in Switzerland. Sue's worked in high-end cosmetic clinics in Sydney and has presented internationally on the topic of creating successful, profitable and fun dental clinics. Her last decade was spent balancing the dual role of dental hygiene clinician as well as practice manager. She wanted another challenge, and on her son's 18th birthday, she felt it was her time to do what she always wanted and create her own business, which is called Talking Dental. Talking Dental is a dental consulting business which helps dental practices grow their businesses in every area and, of course, have fun at the same time. Helping dental practices to create an environment where people are excited to go to work is extremely important to her. So Sue has travelled to more than 45 countries and has learnt to speak Swiss, German, Italian, as well as a little Indonesian. She's married to a fireman and has a couple of kids herself, and she's also a host mum to a couple of kids, so she can share a little bit about that if she wants to. Now, in 2004, Sue placed a suitcase. So she was a single mum, and she placed a suitcase at the door of her son's classroom requesting donations for orphan children in Bali, and her son at the time was 5 years old. This journey took her to an orphanage near Ubud in Bali. Now, I should have asked Sue how to pronounce the actual name of where the orphanage is, but she will share that with us, I'm sure. So she was so moved by what she experienced there that she knew she had to do something more. And the following year, armed with more than 400 kilos of dental equipment, just 400 kilos of dental equipment, she returned with Dr. Greg Cox, who was her Outback boss, and created a project called Senyum, which means to smile. Now, with a team of 10, mostly of Dr. Cox's family and friends, and Sue's friends, they held a 5-day clinic at an orphanage, set up a makeshift clinic in one of the Muslim prayer rooms, bare feet and all, on bench tops with headlamps strapped to their foreheads, using water from the wells, which, believe it or not, contained water weevils. They treated 400 children and their teachers, and they were so touched by this experience that they decided to help build a permanent structure where the dental chairs were permanently in place. This clinic now sits alongside and within a hospital called Anak Bali Kids. The hospital was built as a respite care hospital for orphan children so they could recover in peace away from the hustle and bustle of the other 400 children. And this has now grown to much, much more. And I know Susan's got a huge, other projects, well, not other projects, but huge ideas. And welcome to the show. I think we could just spend the half hour just talking about what you've done and not even talking to you. You are absolutely amazing.
That is awesome. Welcome, Susan.
Hi, how are you? I just wouldn't you know it, mid introduction, you go both froze, and I panicked and went, oh, so I had to reload. I thought they're talking about me, and I'm not going to get back on. So I'm surprised because technology is not my favorite thing.
You're here, and that's the main thing. Thank you for giving us your time. So I have known you and of you for some time, and your sister did actually tell me about Bali Kids a little while ago. Not tell me about it, but just told me that you were involved in the not-for-profit space. But we didn't ever go deep into the conversation, so I had no idea what you were actually doing. And when we met and you started talking about, I saw a post when you went to Bali on retreat with Jody. And the other group of people who went along. And I saw this photo of you standing in front of this big picture with you. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? What was that about? That was the first I actually knew that you had something to do with, and I still didn't understand the magnitude of what you were doing. So do you want to share with us how, 2004 it all started. What did it mean for you? Dentistry is obviously a huge passion for you.
Dentistry is my chosen career path. To be honest with you, my passion was mathematics, and I did a year of mathematics at university, and I just was so young. I needed a break, and I made a story to my parents that something else was my passion. So I think I was trying to con my way out of university, and I took 2 years off and worked in a dental clinic. Because you didn't need many qualifications to be a dental assistant. I think my parents had a meltdown that I was leaving a mathematics degree to go and become a dental assistant. But it's strange how life works out sometime. The minute I got there, I went, wow, I love this. And I got into a training course straight away. The next year I did my radiography course. I never got back to my maths degree. And by the time I was 21, I was a dental hygienist. Down the track as a single mum, I did apply to go back and do dentistry, but I had the grades to get in, but it was just too hard as a single mum. I thought, studying full time. So I created a life within and outside of dentistry that really inspired me. So I used my dental hygiene career to kind of launch other things, but it was also a very good career to actually be a single mum as well, because we pretty much worked between the 8 and I wasn't having to do work, and it suited what I needed to do. And so I've always been challenged by other things and like to challenge myself, and they're the things I created around dental hygiene. So yeah.
So you thought going to uni as a single mum is going to be really hard. You thought going to uni as a single mum is going to be really hard. I know what I'll do. I'm going to build a hospital.
That's a big leap, Peony. How did that happen?
I was always really frightened of having no money. And dental I paid very well. Well, it paid, I guess being a dentist would have paid a lot better, but I needed to concentrate on being a mother, and I wanted to give everything that I possibly could to my son. So I stuck at it, and but I did constantly feel that I hadn't fulfilled my life's potential. And so I think a lot of this has been born out wanting to prove to myself that I could do more, maybe wanting to prove to other people that I could do more, which is a bit embarrassing to say. But I got over that, and I really, when I became a single mum, I felt quite miserable. It wasn't a path that I'd chosen. I'm a planner, and I'm a bit of a control freak, and every cent has to be accounted for, and stepping into the abyss of the unknown with no wage was freaking out, because I had a really great lifestyle with my ex-husband. We had everything. We'd paid a house off at 33, and we had a Mercedes and the Saab in the driveway, and I just went into massive debt to go my own way. And I was a planner. But the thing with Bali Kids, when I started doing that, it came out of a self-development course that I was doing to make myself, and I discovered how amazing I felt when I started to give to other people, and I stopped worrying about me. And all this honestly is driven by that the wanting to give to other people really has saved me over the years, because it just stops me worrying about my own stuff. And I can honestly say, anyone that does charity work, you know, the feeling is amazing, and everyone I speak to, and it's so wonderful to help other people and give them a leg up. And it's also was a very important lesson to my son, being a child of he had more in his bedroom at age 5 than 400 children did in the entire orphanage. And he came with me, and he's a beautiful kid. He has a very nice heart, and I hope I've had some part to play in that.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. So you partnered up. How did the conversation go with Dr. Greg Cox to, you know, say, hey, let's do, how did that happen? So we'll start off. So first you decided to throw a suitcase in front of your son's classroom, assuming that you were asking for dental stuff like toothbrushes, toothpaste, floss, all that kind of stuff?
No. I put Kate at the door to sort of put out there that I just put a little sign on it, and I said, hey, listen, Connor and I are going to Bali, Indonesia. If anyone in the classroom wants to add school books, soccer balls, pencils, anything that we can take over. I was really interested in something I saw in the newspaper called Carry for Kids. And Carry for Kids was an organisation, I think it's still going in a way, pretty much that was started by Brenton Whitaker. We'll get to him later. But Brenton worked in the back of a travel agency in Adelaide, and he used to collect things and put them on a plane when there was spare room on the plane. I think Air Paradise were involved at one stage. Other airlines have been involved. And we just travel. So Connor's 5, we're off to Bali for someone else, and I put the suitcase at the door, and before you know it, I've got so much stuff. Little Star of the Sea was where Connor went in his primary school, and he and I were upgraded to business class with all of our luggage, and the airline at the time were amazing. I reached out to some of my dental, some toothbrushes and because I thought, you know, before I know that stuff starts coming in, people are so generous. And there were with a 5-year-old sharing ENTs. And we started. I think we've lost Theone.
She's just disappeared. She's ducked out for a coffee. So, and then I lost audio with you.
Can I have a second one?
You go for it. You go for it. So,
okay, well.
And now you're frozen. Oh, I love technology when it works. And I love it even better when it works properly. So, Susan, can I just, if you can hear me, can I just get you to refresh? Please be patient with us and this broadcast. If you are watching, Susan has been doing an amazing thing with the Bali kids, and now she's showing. So you're on.
No, it's a good.
Theone, we've got you back, and Susan's gone to refresh. No, Theone's gone as well. So if you've just, oh, there we go. There's Susan. Speak to me, Susan.
Okay, which bit did you miss?
I missed up until
okay. So I'm not sure. I actually can't hear Adair. So I'm going to leave myself out because you two can clearly hear each other. So I'm going to stay out and go play in the comments over on Facebook because this is too important to miss. And then I'll just work out what's going on.
Well, there we go. It's just us. Lucky I was listening. Let's go back to you said that you had the suitcase in front of the door at the classroom door. You were asking for books and soccer balls and that type of thing to take over there. You'd seen something advertised, promoted. What was it called?
Well, I just happened to be going to Bali with some friends, and I thought this will be great. And I'll do something else while I'm there, and just offered to take some things over. I'd seen advertised in the Sunday Mail, Carry for Kids, which is an organisation that takes one. Yeah. And yes. I did talk about I'll say it again. I actually got upgraded to business class with my 5-year-old, and I was in front of the plane drinking gin and tonics. And it was such a waste because he couldn't share them with me. Although now he probably would love to. So I went down the back of the plane and found a mum, dragged her and swapped my child and said, here, you take him, he's all yours, and gave him to the dad. And I took the mum up the front of the plane. It's a very interesting story because that woman is Carleen Maywald, and she was the minister for the River Murray.
Oh.
And Carleen and I remain great friends today. I got introduced to her in the bookshop, so it wasn't just a random go and get a different mum from down the back of the plane.
I was going to say, I've never had that happen to me on a plane, but that's a great story.
Yeah, so I went, oh, there's not a waste. We've got the gin and tonics at the front of the plane. Let's just go for it. So we pretty much chose a day. They weren't a complete stranger, Theone. I'd met her in the bookshop half an hour before. And it was on a plane.
The girls got fired.
It wasn't a plane. I wasn't going to disappear with him. But we all we had a day out. So we had, I think, 9 days in Bali, and we spent one day going to the orphanages. It absolutely touched my heart. My son played soccer with the children. I've got videos of the little munchkin even now. He loves, as a 21-year-old, he loves sitting down and watching these little legs run around and play soccer. And he gave Aussie rules footballs to the kids, and they were so kind. And, you know, the children were so happy. We went to a couple of orphanages that day, and I was so moved. By the end of the day, I went, wow, I've got to do more. And that led me to, what can I do? And the next sentence was, well, I do dental. So what my gift had become is something in the dental space. And these kids had been given so many lollies over the years by kind strangers that wasn't so good for their teeth. And so I came home to Australia and went, let's do something else. And because being a single mum, people who have been a single mum will understand this. Once your child's in bed at 7:30 at night, or in my child's case, often 10:30, but that's another story. Once they're meant to be in bed by 7:30 at night, you can't go anywhere. You can't go to the shop to get milk. You can't go to an exercise class. You can't. You're stuck. You're there, and that's okay. That's fine. But I hooked up the internet and started emailing people, and I dreamt up this project. And rather than watching television all the time, I decided that I'd reach out to my dental community and see what we could do. And one of the people I reached out to was my old boss, Dr. Greg Cox in Broken Hill. And he was like, wow, I've been thinking of something to actually become connected with. He does a lot of work with Indigenous children. So we created a charity called Senyum, or Senyum, which in Bahasa means to smile. And it was pretty much the Smile Project, and it was to help Indigenous and international children with regard to their dental help.
That's pretty amazing. And so how did you choose to do it at the place that you actually did it? Because I remember that you're saying that you've started with one and you're looking to expand. We'll talk about that in a moment. But how did you choose that particular orphanage to start with? Or did it choose you?
Yeah, I think it chose me. Brenton Whitaker, who ran the Carry for Kids, was connected to a few orphanages. There are orphanages all over Bali. It's sad to say some of the orphanages are very above board and they're run very well, and others are not run so well. And it's very sad that quite often the people running some of the other orphanages do it for their own benefit, and the children are a bit of a front. That's even worse. But unfortunately, you know, I had to choose something that was going to have, you know, the proper tax deductions, you know, was all legitimate and above board. You know, dealing with children, you've got to make sure that you're doing things properly. So I did ask quite a few people. Greg said yes, he jumped at, and he's done so much work. And to be fair, I did a lot of work in this space for a very long time, but the last 4 or 5 years I dipped out because I had some other personal things going on. So it was a real surprise to me when I went back that in August last year that my photograph was even on the wall. But
oh, wow.
There's so many stories in there, but Dr. Greg Cole is amazing. His son, his daughters, his wife, friends of ours, friends of theirs. There was 10 of us that turned up with 400 kilograms of equipment. It was just after all of the Chappelle stuff. We had syringes in there. We had needles. We had all sorts of stuff in our, you know, tubs and tubs of Senyum equipment. My son was grasping my ankle at the gate to the plane and didn't want me to go because, being a very bright kid, he'd heard a lot of stuff about Bali bombings, you know, but just thought we have to go. That was the second time, so I wish my son had come with me every time, but, you know, sometimes you've got to leave the little ones in school or home with Nana. And we went off and we treated, we arrived at the Kenya orphanage. The only room they could house us in was a huge white room with no furniture, and you could see the electrical cables sort of hanging around the edge of the wall. It was a Muslim prayer room. We had to remove our shoes. We set up these makeshift planks and bench tops, and we laid out all of our equipment. We had our sterilisation all in process. We had a little area on the floor, which I guess was our waiting room, which was basically a rug on the floor with some pillows. We did keep data and statistics on everything, so we knew what we had done by the end of it, and we just hit the ground running for 5 days. It was, at the start, maybe a little bit of chaos, but we worked out this system where every child had their teeth cleaned, every child who had a filling had it filled, every teacher, everyone, we went through everyone, any rotten teeth were removed. I had a boy with a really big broken front tooth, which really, you know, damaged his confidence. With equipment there to be able to repair it and put his front tooth back. And we managed to, in the process, we taught them how to brush the teeth properly. They didn't own toothbrushes. And we also managed to have candies and chocolates banned from, you know, a donation that would go to the clinic. Their diets are so good over there, you know, they're good, healthy rice and vegetable diets, and then us Westerners come along and, you know, throw candy and lollies into the mix. So we managed to have them banned. You can see on the wish list today that they don't accept lollies or anything like that. It's just an extra health problem that.
Yes, yeah. And so you did that for 10 days. That was the first step. Well, that actually was probably about the third or fourth step by the time you'd been there and come back and done that. So the I guess the outcome of all that planning, and so how did that morph into to being attached to the hospital as a permanent clinic?
Okay, so at the time, Brenton and his team were looking for a site to build a hospital to give respite care to the children in an orphanage. When they're unwell, they need a different space. They need calm. They need a lot more cleanliness, all of those things. And there were some terribly unwell children. And Brenton's amazing. He created the dream. We realised that transporting all of our equipment back and forth all the time was not going to be a very clever way to run this. So we left all of our equipment behind. So we left all the equipment behind. We then got donations of dental chairs, and with the help of a company called Strawman, with Dr. Greg, he was, you know, the main driver behind that. They built 2 clinics attached to a hospital once Brenton had actually found this site to build it on. And it's really interesting. There's an Adelaide lady called Anna Diamond. She's the daughter of Dr. John Spigos. Her sister, his daughter, she died of a brain aneurysm at age 32, and all of the donations that came from her funeral went to building the hospital side, and we took care of the dental side. Now, I've never met Anna until 2 months ago. I didn't know she existed. And sat and had a coffee, and Brenton introduced us. We just didn't know we existed. So we built the hospital. You know, we've got, I think they've got sort of 20 children living there now. And I went back in August with Jodie from the Seven Effect and went to a retreat. We decided we wanted to do some charity work. We were there, and I sort of said, "Oh, we've got a little charity over there. We should check that out." And I walked So that's how we got back there. And I walked in and saw this big picture of myself, and I was a bit embarrassed because I went, "Oh my God, I didn't really do that much."
What?
I sat there and listened to the stories that are happening now and the problems that are occurring now. And it's like the dental stuff, to me, was the catalyst to actually learning more about all of the other things. There's a huge problem now with HIV, and that's probably where we'll go next. But one of the reasons I wanted to come on today was to talk about the HIV AIDS Day project that we're running on Sunday in Adelaide at the Grange Golf Club, and we're fundraising for this. And I'm just going to throw that in there, and I'll go back to talking what you want to talk about. But one of the main reasons that I really
we are nearly out of time, but I do want you to let us know about the event on Sunday. So so just share that, and then just link that in with what's happening now. So because you've come from not being involved, seeing yourself over there in Bali, like when you went over there, and now really pushing, getting the energy behind it again. Is that you're in a place where you can do that now? Is that?
Absolutely. I'm so the last few years I've actually had a lot of children live in my home who were overseas students, international students, people who wanted to live, and that was my charity, I guess, for the last couple of years. But I kicked them all out of the house in December in a nice way. It's like, no more kids, I've had enough. So when I got back to Bali in August, I discovered a lot of Australian philanthropists and people who have been giving to this project have pulled out. And they're struggling for funds. And in addition to that, there's so many children in Bali now being born to HIV parents. And it's a very sad story because, and I could talk about this for ages, so I want to try and keep it really short. If you don't want to pass HIV on to your child, you need to give birth by cesarean, and you need to bottle feed your child with formula. That costs $3,000. $3,000 is an annual average wage in Indonesia. So finding money to actually pay for that if you're a young Indonesian is impossible. And a lot of the young mums are abandoning their children and running away because they can't pay the bill. So these children are ending up at Bali Kids. So my sisters and I, the four of us, sponsor a nurse to actually care for one of the babies. We've got Anna Diamond sponsors a nurse just on her own. And of course, it's the formula cost, the cesarean cost, but then if they're abandoned, it becomes a lifetime cost of a child. So we try really hard to keep everyone together. So it's lots of money that's needed to prevent all of this. And I can tell you now, HIV was not taken to the island by the Balinese. It was us Westerners who took it there. You know, it's our playground. It's where we go and have fun. And unfortunately, the HIV virus has made it everywhere. And the children and the young people in Bali are so undereducated. A girl will have her first menstrual period and she won't even know what it is, let alone know what HIV is. So Bali Kids is now very dedicated to teaching sexual education, HIV education, smoking education, dental education, every type, and they're only people on the island that do it. The only people. And so I feel a huge responsibility as an Australian who has travelled a lot and been so many times to Indonesia and Bali myself and had so many wonderful holidays there, that we all need to give a little bit back. And for me at the moment, it's talking about it. and it's my $20 a week, and we'll probably run a ball next year and do all sorts of things. And I've got people overseas that are helping me in wonderful things. But if you're at home and you're an individual, what can you do? You can get onto the Bali Kids link, and it's all tax deductible. You can even give $1 a week if that's what you want to do. You can come along Sunday to the fundraiser. Today is the last day that you can buy tickets. The cutoff is tonight. It's $42 for a meal and a drink and some fundraising. All the money goes straight to Bali Kids. And I'm sure the girls will put the link up.
Yes, it will be above.
What else can you do? Yes. And the other thing to do is share the story and just keep in touch with what's going on.
That's awesome, Sue. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. I think we'll have you back again, because there's obviously many more aspects to this story. I'm losing my voice. Oh no. Excuse me. And so there's many more aspects to this story and to your journey, and really, really excited to see how this unfolds and where it will take you, because I bet you didn't think way back then when you started in that prayer room, in that Muslim prayer room, that you would be educating young Balinese children around sexual and dental and other health issues that they will have. So education is the key. So you are doing an amazing thing, and I would just suggest that call to everybody, if you can help in any way, please do. Excuse me. Theone is saying, oh, okay, I just saw the host chat and she's saying, talk about the event on Sunday, but that's me catching up afterwards. Right. So we've done that.
Can I just say one more thing? I'm probably going to get cut off or something. Look, it was a really big thing for me to stick my neck out and actually put a suitcase at the door. I was the sort of person who loved inspiring people in my own little world, but to actually get out and be brave and actually put a suitcase there with my name on it was like, oh, but I did it. And then that has led to so many things. I now can see that we're not just going to help one hospital, we're going to help multiple hospitals across Indonesia. And of course, I'm still very passionate about Indigenous children and helping people in our own backyard. But our backyard is often our playground as well, which is so please help if you can, and reach out to me and ask me any questions if you find me on Facebook.
So you can, if the only saying, I'll never cut you off. So you can come to the event on Sunday if you are in Adelaide. You can connect with Sue, and there's obviously ways that you can make donations. And also, if you can do nothing else but just share the love, that's something that would be really useful for us to get the word out there using the power of social media, the power of 5, I call it. So if you just make sure, tap 5 of your friends on the shoulder and say, hey, check this out, and then ask them to tap 5 of their friends on the shoulder. It's not hard. It's very easy to do, and you will help us share the love and help create a better world in the process. Susan, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate what you're doing and appreciate you. And it really is rewarding to hear what amazing people are doing to help create a better world. So where is my partner in crime, Theone, producing now for us? And
hey, you know what? I've just bumped her off the show and taken over. So I've pushed her to the side. I tend to do this.
Get.